Father Charles Onen, Reverend Father Charles Onen, Member of Parliament, Laroo, Pece constituency, Gulu City. This is my first term in the August House. I was elected on the 21st, rather on the 14th of January 2021. So far I've served for apparently 4 years, remaining only with 1 year to conclude the 1 term as a member of the 11th Parliament. You know, they say politics is a dirty game, and that is why most religious men and women shun or shy to join or to participate in active politics. But the big question is, who will sanitize politics? Who will be the voice of reason in politics? Who will give the alternative voice defending humanity from the Christian perspective and from the human perspective? There is something which I've learned of politicians, that most politicians, they speak the truth with some degree of dishonesty. So they rarely or accidentally, they speak the truth. They defend the truth. Most of the politicians, especially those who align their politics to the political parties of their respective choices, they tend to defend the position of their political parties rather than humanity. And you recall and you are aware that politics does not have conscience. Karl Marx says the end justifies the means. The ends would always justify the means. However, if you stand from the religious perspective, humanity has got conscience. Humanity can be wounded. Humanity can be healed. Politics and political parties can only be broken, and there will be always room for revenge. And that's why, and I'm happy, that when I came here, I found people were looking and asking, especially those from eastern and northern Uganda and the rest of Uganda, they were asking for hardwares in terms of compensation. And they're forgetting the software, the aspect of truth-telling and reconciliation. People are only asking for compensations of animals. You go to the east, no cow, no votes. You go to the north, no cow, no votes. You go to, they're only asking for hardwares, forgetting the software. Uganda since 1962 to date has been seriously brutalized by the past regimes. Ugandans are bleeding. We need that commission of, the Truth and Justice Commission to be put in place so that truth-telling can lead us to national reconciliation and national healing. The transitional justice law, for sure, if it is passed, I'm happy Parliament has granted me leave over this so that I introduce. We are, and I'm now at the final draft, and very soon I believe I will be able, once granted opportunity on the other paper, I will be able to table that. The transitional justice law will be the mother of peace for this country. We have the national transitional policy, but cannot be operationalized without the required legal instrument, and that is the transitional justice law. So, by asking me, how have you found politics coming from the religious perspective? To me, and I believe God has sent me here for a purpose. Purpose to speak truth to power. Purpose to be honest to myself and to my service, to my country. And if I contribute to, and if that law is passed, I believe it is going to be one of the biggest contributions which I will have made to this country as far as national reconciliation, national healing, and transformation is concerned. We cannot talk about economic transformation without national healing. We cannot talk about meaningful economic transformation without looking at the aggrieved parties. Already in this country, whenever government comes up with a good policy, with any policy, take for example the PDM, the Paris Development Model. At first, people were thinking that was a money given by the NRM to the NRM members or beneficiaries. And that was the propaganda at place. By the time they got to realize that, yes, this was money and it is money meant to start economic progress in this country, to eradicate and to move people from subsistence kind of farming and so forth, to move to money economy, it was too late. But nevertheless, it is going to score some mileage. But we need, actually, why was that delay in understanding, in receiving that correct information? It is because of the past wrongs. People think it is our time now. Let's pick this and eat. They think it was a campaign money, which was not, and it is not the case. So, religious leaders should not actually fear to participate in politics. Because what is the function and the mandate of religious institution? One, any religious institution which cannot remonstrate, which cannot admonish, any religious institution which cannot conscientize the masses, that is a cult. Because we cannot continue romancing those who are causing, injustices to humanity, and we keep romancing them with good words. And romancing victims, things will be okay, the Lord will deliver you, the Lord will set you free. We need to speak truth to power. And that is conscientizing leaders in this country, conscientizing those who are, who are responsible for keeping law and order, speaking to security people. Today, most religious leaders, what they carry is not the word of God, but envelopes around their armpits. As they go to power, they don't preach the word, but they only deliver their proposals for their projects. Something which must change. Janani Luhum spoke for the truth and was martyred for the truth. Several martyrs of this country, including not only the Christians, even the Muslim martyrs, they spoke power. They spoke truth to power. And that's why we continue commemorating their heroic decisions, heroic contributions to this country. Actually, they have contributed enormously in the laying and setting of the foundation of morality, or Christian morality and Muslim morality.
I just want to understand, as you move from, do you think that it's shifting from the religious perspective to politics? Do you remain in that service of God?
The service of God is service to humanity, and politics also does give service to humanity. But the difference is, most politicians, I told you that politicians, they tend to align their ideological thinking, their attitude and so forth, to the interests of the political parties. If the party say wants this to be passed, they will dance to that tune without questioning and without thinking about the impacts of their decision. And if religious leaders keep shunning from participating in politics, but leaders would thrive, and we shall be lamenting. The vicious circle of lamentation must stop with the coming in full force with a good intention to politics. Politics, people should not join, religious leaders should not join politics for search for money and political and kind of, positioning themselves. They should come to work in service of humanity, whose God is Allah, or God the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
So, do you think clergy can remain on the pulpit?
Yes.
And still serve in politics, like those two masters? Because we have seen that whenever people move from politics, from the church to politics, they resign their duties and they don't go back and serve God. And Father Kodo here was the same and your case. Do you think you can still do both?
Whenever I go back to Gulu, I'm always given opportunity to speak to the congregation. And what I used to speak in the past is what I can speak today, even right now. Speaking truth to power. And what the people of my constituency of Northern Uganda know me for is speaking truth. Nothing but truth to power without fear and contradiction. And that is why sometimes people look at me to be somebody who is erratic. Yes, I may appear erratic in my statement, but I will never be heretical in my thinking.
Has this parliament lived to your expectations as you are joining politics?
Well, there is a lot of gallery play, especially by the opposition members of parliament. Take, for example, we have started a very busy period of appropriation. Look at the ministerial policy statement. We are discussing and adjusting the budget. But you see, they bring in petty issues to deviate members of parliament from participating and, thinking about serious issues. Take, for example, this morning, when the plenary started, there were barely 4 people in the chambers. I was there, one of those who were inside, barely. And it took like 30 minutes or 40 for members to start coming in. Meaning, our interest sometimes it is different. The ministerial policy papers, the different sectorial committees at the moment, looking at the different sectors to be funded in the national budget for 2025-2026. This is parliament at the service of humanity. The parliament during plenary, it is parliament at public exhibition, because people tend to wait for the village scorecard to be, to be boosted. My MP, you have heard in the social media, my MP spoke for 40 times. I saw my MP speaking, and there are also some members of parliament who actually go and look for the screenshot of their participation in the floor of parliament. They send, today I've spoken on this. What are they looking at? The scorecard, the village scorecard. But that is a member of parliament, to me, a member of parliament at public exhibition. Any serious member of parliament should be busy now at attending the different sectorial meetings, the meeting of the Committee on Education, meeting on the Committee of Agriculture, of Infrastructure. The law allows any member of parliament to participate, much as you will not have the voting right. But you have to know what is going to take place, which kind of contribution are you going to make to your people in this forthcoming the budget proposal. You don't need for the omnibus kind of decision which members are going to pass. What is your contribution?
Coming from the religious background and being the vice chair of the Rules Committee, how have you found the behaviors of the members of parliament? Are they honorable now?
Yes, the prefix honorable, unfortunately, it is given by the Electoral Commission by virtue of the law. But this prefix does not change the behavior and the character of a member of parliament. Well, there are members of parliament who are well disciplined. I need to appreciate them, to credit them. However, there are also members of parliament who you just look at and you just see, this is a political entrepreneur.
What do you mean?
A political entrepreneur, somebody who is just here for business. He's not actually serious in the dress code. And that's why the other time when we were reviewing the rules, we said we need to be tough on the dress code, so that when you are in the downtown, even if you are in wherever you will be, people must see the honorableness in you. You should not disgrace, the voters who voted for you. And this is because during campaign people dress so honorably, people dress so well, good kitenge, good gomasi for ladies, well addressed, well trimmed. But after winning the election, they begin living their village kind of lifestyle. So, and that one defeats the title or the prefix, honorable member of parliament. However, there have been good cases and of members of parliament behaving well, articulating issues. I've seen honorable members who are very serious. Honorable members from the Western Uganda, I want to credit them. They are very, 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 they are very serious. I think because they are being watched by the president. They are being watched. So they come when they're all well prepared, well dressed. That is an example. I've seen honorable members from the East, majority actually from the East. They come, the likes of the Honorable Kanya, the likes of Honorable Okupa Elijah. So they come when they are well prepared, well researched, and they contribute meaningfully. Meanwhile, there are those who just come for point of order, clarification, point of procedure. They did not do any research. So the 2026 we are going for election. I think the future or the Uganda we want must depend and will depend on the kind of leaders whom we shall vote. People should not be voted because so and so Godfather has said vote for this. The voters must decide, because their vote or votes will determine the kind of service they will yearn for in their respective constituencies. And it will be a great disservice for this country if Ugandans do not take election period as a serious time for them to shift using the KKK. I don't know how you call it in Uganda. Yes, so that fine leaders are voted for, but not political entrepreneurs or gamblers who will go or come with money to deceive them, buy for them boost and buy for them ABCD. I would love to see somebody campaigning without giving out money. I would love to see somebody campaigning without abusive languages. What normally dominates our campaign, and those who actually win campaign, are those who abuse the more. So that the good and the righteous people who should actually be voted, they shy to move away. And that could also be the reason why religious people, they don't want to participate in politics, because they don't want to be abused. But you have to accept to suffer like Christ in order for you to be victorious. Okay. Well, this dates and goes back to the kind of formation to our education system. The holistic education system must not only train the mind or the minds, but should also train the heart, the character, should mold the character. Most of the institutions of education institutions we have, they are after passing. And I want to thank the Minister of Education and all the MDs who are involved in now reshaping, coming up with a new curriculum, the competent-based curriculum. I believe this is not going to form the mind, but also the heart. Yes, it is true that the people who have left their spouses and they have married different, that it is there. And those who want to be near to the powerhouse, they think when they get spouses or girls from Western Uganda, they are so closer to the world to stay. So they abandon that traditional one, the original.
Talk about that again. There are those MPs who go for Western Uganda.
Yes, so that mindset. And I've seen quite many, I don't want to mention their names, but you find they live, they're good ladies, they're good wives who actually labor to cook, to prepare porridge and tea when they were campaigning, and after succeeding, what do? They abandon those, and then they look for the brown and so forth, chocolate girls who actually tend to come from the West because they want to be closer and identify themselves with power. But that is a temporary kind of, whoever has prepared you. In other words, you don't need to kick away the ladder which you used to climb with to the topmost position.
Now, you're summarizing this, share with us your climax in this house. What has been your climax?
Well, people got to know me when I defended this country from the barbaric, from the inhuman act of homosexuality, where some people were recruiting, agents were recruiting young children into the act of homosexuality in the pretext of promising them a good life, visa, and so forth. That's when people got to know me. When I told the speaker, I said, when I look at you, people say, hey, why the speaker? You look, because the brownness of the speaker, they thought I was also been enticed like Adam, in the Garden of Eden. So that is where people got to know me. Secondly, On the issue on the anti-homosexuality, I am one who does not just speak on the floor for village squad. I speak what is necessary and good for this country and for my people. Secondly, I recall before the death of Jacob Olanya, I also moved a motion. I moved motions. I supported motions like the private members bill. I also have raised one. It is in the process. We are now looking at the final draft. Very soon, hopefully by next week, it will be ready once given opportunity on the other paper. So, and I have told you that the National Transitional Justice Law is going to be the mother of peace in this country, and that is going to be, the greatest achievement of my contribution to this National Assembly. Parliament has granted me leave, and right now we are at the final stage, and I believe this is the project of God. God wants to heal this country through the National Transitional Justice Law.
And what has been your biggest disappointment?
The biggest disappointment I can say it is on behavior of some members of Parliament, transactional members of Parliament. Members of Parliament were disruptive, especially when we're discussing serious issues. They walk away from Parliament, they play the gallery, they begin shouting, they begin fighting, because this house, it is the house of logic. It is the house of logic. And if a member of Parliament pulls his sleeve to box, to fight, that is unbecoming of an honorable member of Parliament, for sure. The house of logic means that this person has been defeated by logic, or logic never recited in his mind.
Okay. There's something I wanted to understand, which I had forgotten. Recently, we have seen a lot of exodus in Acholi sub-region and Beira North. People crisscrossing from one part to another. What do you have to say about that?
You see, I told you about the political entrepreneurs. I told you about political entrepreneurs. The achievement is about transaction. So transaction, people want to position themselves, but not the people who entrusted them with the votes. We are in this Parliament on social contract, but people who are crisscrossing and running left and right, these are people without political backbone. They are like the caterpillars. So I think what is enticing them to cross is desire for position, desire for power, desire for money, and they think by being closer to the power, to the then they will be okay. I looked at some of the reasons for crossing, which they claim that it will spur development in northern Uganda. One of the issues which they raise is the Transitional Justice Law. It is not going to be given on a silver plate by His Excellency the President, by the fountain of honor. It is going to be given by Parliament. It will be an act of Parliament, not the ex gratias of the fountain of honor. The issue of compensation, they also list that as one of the issues that government must consider as they cross. It is already the issue which court has already ruled. Compensation is ongoing, and you cannot bring that again to the president to look into that issue. No, we need to see that, and we need to participate in this budget time to see that money is got and our people are compensated. Well, people only play with the wounds, with the social wounds, with the social disappointments of the ordinary person. People ride on the wings of emotion in order to front their political agenda. And this is the time to prove them wrong, that please, don't play with people's wounds, don't play with people's problems and the challenges they're facing for you to arrive at your what? At your end. We need actually a concerted effort. Like for those who said that we are talking for the what? For the people of northern Uganda. They were barely 7, and we are about 28. So the consultation was not made well. There was no proper consultation for them. They went to me. They were seeking for. They wanted to reposition themselves in the system.
And the second last, coming from being this reverend father, who is not supposed to be with a lot of money, modest income, the member of parliament, that migration, you're now swimming in cash. So how did you manage that transition?
Well, I came to parliament with the support of the local person. People contributed. I didn't have money. I had only 40,000 when I declared my intention. I had no bicycle, right? I had no motorcycle, no car. But I've seen the Muslim community giving me liters of diesel to support my campaign, giving me money. I've seen the born again supporting me, the Catholics, the local person supporting me. And this is to my best, and I have to be honest. If you are to visit my account right now, I don't have money. I want to go back poor when I've served my people. And whichever group that I support at the moment, I don't give them, popcorn kind of support. I give them something meaningful support that can, can enrich them, that can make them move an inch in life. So, the money which I receive, with the exception, I bought a house because as an honorable member, I don't need to be renting, to be in the rental and sharing, shower, whatever, bathroom with the other tenants. I needed to have a house where I could go and rest, my privacy, have my privacy. I needed a simple car, a very simple car that can help me to move from Gulu to Kampala. I never went for this V8 and those expensive TXR and so forth. I went for a simple car, a pickup that can transport me. I'm not a flamboyant kind of, member of parliament. I'm not pompous, very moderate, and I've done a lot. I'm building, dormitory facility for girls. I've built at least some churches. Now I'm building an ablution house for the Muslim community, where whenever a Muslim happen to pass on, where they will be prepared, because the house, the current structure which they have, the ablution house which they have at the moment, it is very small. It can only accommodate like 2 corpses. So I needed one which can accommodate more than 8, where they can wash the dead bodies, so it's just in case like accident, so forth, where they can prepare their loved ones before taking them to the cemetery. It is now in the process. We already, made the water pipeline into the cemetery, and I want to build that for the Muslim community. I am here not for the Catholic Church, but for humanity. Not for any denomination, but humanity. Humanity is my foundation.
Have you said you want to retire poor?
Oh yes, and how I wish I could go back poor. How I wish I could fail in the forthcoming election. But I can see the love and the support. Everyone is saying, Father, you have done a lot. You have done what other members of parliament have never contributed, never done. We are taking you back, and they're going to bring me back in 2026. Comes rain or sunshine, I will be here. And
very final, since that debate of the anti-homosexuality, people have been wondering, is this father married? Is he married? Is he moving in that direction? No, clarify that.
You see, we went to different school of thoughts. We went to different schools, different formation. The question is, how did you know? How did you know that I know? And what is to know? Plato and also Aristotle, they say, there is what we call a priori knowledge. Knowledge which is innate, knowledge which is inborn. Who teaches a child how to cry? For example, let me teaches a child how to cry. We have seen children when they're being bathed in the water, and you see them erecting. Who taught them how to erect? It is really something which is innate, which is inborn. How do you teach? How do you know that you have love? So, knowledge is something a priori. Secondly, as a priest, I studied marital counseling and postmarital counseling in order to prepare the marital, couples for marriage. And this is the knowledge that we are taught at school, how to prepare people for marriage, how to counsel them in case of, tendency of separation and divorce. How do we, guide them how to raise a child? The issue, there was a day I was teaching people on the moon beat system, the moon beat system. A lady said, Father, where did you get information from? I said, this is the traditional way of what? Of teaching of teaching women how to, spaced out of control, birth, and so forth. So they expect fathers to not know that area. No. The most knowledgeable person is the priest.
Thank you so much. Can you give us your parting shots, your conclusion?
Well, I need my stand to be my legacy. My stand on any issue to be my legacy. My stand on issue affecting humanity to be my legacy. My stand on issue affecting the society as far as injustices are, that stand must be my legacy. Even on my death, when people are, giving eulogies, my stand must be my legacy. That legacy which will live beyond the grave.